Sweet. Gotcha. I'm on Invata, so there should be lots of people here.
Hello, 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 everyone. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Hi. If you're there, you can just say hello in the chat. And if you know people who should be here, you can send them the link for this live meeting. Okay. Today we have a very, very, very special guest with us today, and his name is Mayowa Daniel. And the reason why we are even doing this is because of over the last 6 months, Google released a report saying that 70% of teams are actually adopting AI in their workflows. They're adopting AI in their code. And we see a lot of companies using Claude, a lot of companies using Codex, a lot of companies using, which other ones? Cursor, Windsurf. You can put it in the chat. Several AI tools. And in the midst of all this, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and it's easy to be overly reliant on AI or make AI think for you. And that's not what we want, right? We want to still remain relevant as software engineers. And that's why we have Mayowa Daniel with us today. Mayowa Daniel is the engineering manager at Olog Reader. And he has built several platforms, including Olog Reader itself. He's the one who brought it out, including Scribe, including Speak and Span. He has released several platforms. Apart from that, he has worked as a software engineer for the past 8 years. 8 years. 8 years is not a short time, which shows resilience, it shows discipline, and it shows the ability to think and still produce results. So I would just like us to welcome Mayowa Daniel as he joins us right now. Woohoo! Welcome, Mayowa.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the dazzling review and introduction. So yeah, glad to be here.
We're glad to have you.
Nice. I can say a little bit about myself, right?
You can.
Okay. Yes. So yeah, I've been building for a while, right? Got into software because I like building things, and right now working on ologreader.com. It's a tool that reads documents to you in the most natural sounding voices you'll find anywhere, and so building that, right, and incubating Scribe as well, which is a tool for sending bulk emails, right, without breaking your wallet. So uh, that's me in a nutshell. Right?
And that's amazing. Scribe has sent over 2 million emails, right? Or is it 2,000?
Yes. We have a counter. We have a counter on our landing page. Over 2 million, right?
Over 2 million emails. 2 million successful emails. So yeah, check out Scribe if you can. So today we're just going to be talking about certain things people are facing. I know that you have been involved in hiring software engineers in the past. You have worked at it as a team lead. You have worked as, right now, you're even managing software engineers, a team on your own. So I wanted to ask, what mistake do you think people usually make as software engineers when it comes to producing output, when it comes to creating value? So what are employers actually looking for?
Oh, employers. Okay. So, I mean, sitting on the hiring side of the interview table, right? What employers are looking for is proof of work, right? Just to borrow a crypto term, right? Proof of work. And basically, if I want to get dramatic, I say, what mountains have you climbed, right? We were having that discussion recently. So people want to see that the thing they want you to do for them, you've done it or something adjacent to it for someone else, right? Or yourself, right? Whether it be a personal project or anything else. And so I share this story of a company I work for, an interview I had where more than once actually, the person interviewing me, in that case was the CTO, literally had the app I made in his hands, and he was just playing around with it. He said, "You made this? Yeah, then you're our guy, right?" So when you have evidence, you don't have to talk too much. as much, right? It stops being an interrogation and can very, very quickly turn into a discussion.
Hmm. So
Yes.
that's very true. Because I remember, when I remember one of the jobs that I got was a part time role, and
Mhm.
so my on my YouTube channel I actually built a live project, which was
Nice.
everything they wanted, and that was how I got the job. So building
Wonderful.
plays a huge role. Although we also have a group of companies that also really look at your lead coding skills or your
Yes.
system architecture skills. What
Hmm.
impact do you think that makes, like, for a developer in the job market, specifically for someone that is actively looking for a role, or
Hmm.
actively looking to even create value at their work, at their job? Do you
Hmm.
think all those things play have an impact, or do you think it's just,
I mean, so
especially AI, right?
say it. So what AI?
Especially with AI, because right now we
Oh,
also have to look at
age
the
of
fact
AI.
that AI can do a lot for us. AI
Yes.
creates a lot of code currently, so
Yes. Yes.
I think it has an impact.
I mean, grinding lead code is grinding lead code, right? It's like a rite of passage. I don't think there's any big tech engineer
Mm.
that hasn't gone through that, right? Where they had to grind lead code. Um, Except the founders, right? I find that a lot often the founders didn't grind any lead code, right? Um, so, uh, what would I say about that? Um, if you're doing lead code, personally, I favor employers who don't prioritize that, right? Just because of how distant the things you learn in lead code, right? Two pointer patterns, dynamic programming, all that stuff. How rare it comes up, right, at work. So if you're just getting started, I wouldn't stress too much about getting into big tech. It's my dream to be a big tech SWE. I would essentially build things, right? Build things and then have those things be your diploma, right?
Mm.
Not lean on your diploma in any way, shape, or form,
Mm.
um, but your degree, right? Depending on, well, this is what I'm talking about when I say diploma. Use your work, right? The projects you've built, as let them speak for you. Like put that up in front, right? Not how many hours of lead code you've done.
Mm.
Um, Again, it depends, right? But if you really want to go for the big tech, then by all means, right? Grind the lead code all day, every day, right? AI is not going to change your ability to pass a live coding session right in front, right? Might help you maybe remember things, right? Faster, like look things up quicker when while you prepare. But um, if it's a regular job, I would be doing as much. I wouldn't call it vibe coding. I would call it AI assisted engineering, right?
Mm.
Not vibe coding, right? This you are reading the code, you're understanding what's happening in the code. You are being responsible for every single character this thing spits out, right? I would focus on that and putting my reps there and let
Mm.
the results that from that uh, be what I put in front of employers, potential employers.
Have you ever faced a situation where, let's say that, okay, you're not vibe coding, right? You generated a lot of code for a
Mm.
particular feature. The feature
Yeah.
was working, but then, in the code that you generated, and you said that, okay, I looked through every single thing, there were
Mhm.
still some things that were off. So, for example,
Mm.
the system architecture, for example, the
Okay.
fault tolerance, what would happen in several use cases.
Mhm.
Those are things that can consistently keep happening, even though, like, you're using AI, you're
Mhm.
reading docs and things like that. So how do you think someone can position themselves to not make mistakes like that,
Okay.
and so to even master the framework that they're using, especially because a lot of companies want to create software fast and
Mhm.
effective in this day
Mhm.
and age of
Yeah.
AI?
Yeah. So, excuse me. There's a speed trap, right, with AI assisted coding. You can put out 100,000 lines of code in a single day, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if you're determined, right? Now, the issue is, can your company, can your team vouch for 100,000 lines of code per day? Definitely not. Right? That's not happening for the average team, right? Not like the team with 40,000 engineers. And in a sense, everything's changed, and in another sense, nothing has, right? Everything's exactly the way it was, because as an engineer, what you are being paid to do is to vouch for the things you put out, right? You can't Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, who insert whatever model provider here, they are not responsible for the thing you generated with their code not working. Right? You are responsible. So the question now becomes, okay, how much liability can you take on per day? Right? That's the real, not lines of code, right? Liability, liability per day, right? If there's a way we can quantify it. So how many maybe features per day are you? Do you feel like you and your team, because again, software engineering is a team sport, the person reviewing the code, how much code review are they willing to sign off on, right? And put in front of users. How much can your users even take, right, of new stuff going on, right, in the product, right? Because some products now try to be everything, right, just because they can, right? They don't stop to ask themselves if they should. And so everyone is coming to terms with the cognitive load that comes, right? There's tech debt, then there's cognitive debt, even I talk, which is, I mean, sisters is a system to tech debt that comes with being able to put out so much stuff so quickly. All right, and so just to try and address your question, right? Not just perambulate, go all over the place. Experience is experience. No one's taking that away, right? If And software is an iterative process as well, right? No piece of software works perfectly the first time it's put out. Pre-AI, post-AI, that has not changed, right? Now, experience limits the blast radius of errors, right? Of edge cases that are unhandled. Right? It really does do that. And so, and I'm finding that the quality of that experience many times it seems like it can only be gotten from human experience. Maybe you're talking to someone else that's done it, or you yourself discovered it and figured it out, right, and got it done. It's so if I was preaching anything, I would say patience, right? Patience and resourcefulness, right? Look for people who have done what you've done before, and get as much detail as you can from them. Human sources, right? Not AI sources that hallucinate things. Yeah, and then put things out there. Okay.
Wow, thank you. So you said experience plays a huge role. So in this market, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, companies don't want to hire junior
Mhm,
software engineers, people who don't have experience yet, right?"
mhm, mhm.
And let's say you just finished college and they're asking you for 7 years of experience, but you
Absolutely.
don't have 7 years of experience, or maybe
Uh-huh.
you want to like still apply because you need a job, right?
Yes, of course.
In a situation like that, how can you even help yourself so that when you do get a job, you still remain confident, right? You're not feeling inadequate or worried all the time.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, cool. So I said earlier that everything is different, and in a sense, everything is the same, right?
Mm,
So we have some early career people on our team,
mm,
and I'm surprised at what they can put out, right?
mm,
Things that would have been unthinkable of assigning, like things that you would have never imagined assigning somebody that has like 2 years experience, 1 year experience,
mm,
right? You can assign now,
mm,
but the trap is thinking you wouldn't the mentorship burden has reduced because of AI. That is a lie, right?
mm,
Early career is early career. You are still going to have to sign off on what it is they put out, right?
mhm,
Maybe even scope it down for them, right? So they don't get overwhelmed and enter a doom loop. And if you do it right between you and them, the speed with which early career talent can start making a difference has dropped significantly. If you do it right, if you do it wrong, it's gonna bite you, right?
mm,
Because again, uh, I how did I phrase it? Right, the highway to disappointment is unrealistic expectations, right?
mm,
So if you want to be disappointed, have unrealistic expectations on what the AI can do for your junior talent, right?
mm,
If you want to be disappointed, but when you recognize that experience is experience, and junior talent by definition requires more experienced hands guiding things,
mm,
then you'll be fine. Then you'll be fine, right? You won't fall into the common footgun of the non-technical founder that thinks, oh, just give my 1 year experience technical co-founder AI and everything we're gonna ship. We're gonna go live on web, on Android, on iOS, and be fine. Nope, you will not, and you will find out very quickly and very aggressively. But if you are the technical founder, right, someone that's a killer, oh, right? Am I allowed to say that? Hopefully, we don't get this doesn't get scrubbed. But if you're really experienced, if you're really experienced, then you can you go really surprisingly far with early career talent that you are guiding.
Mm.
Surprisingly far.
I think so that has to do with the culture of the company that you're in, right? Like the
Okay.
engineering culture. So, have you ever, what are some things that has helped you foster a good engineering culture at Olog leader?
hmm hmm So, like I said, right, it's a team sport. Just basically common, I'd say common at this point, standard software engineering practices, right? A blameless culture. If you can't just pin something not working on one person because, I mean, someone reviewed the code, right? Someone approved it, someone got it merged. So we rise and fall together, essentially.
Mm.
Uh, not thinking tests are just for fun, right? Especially they help a lot, especially with AI that adds something and then breaks something that was working before, right? Being able to get that feedback back loop out very quickly with tests helps a ton, right? So tests, I find tests to be far more important than ever before, right? Especially with the current velocity and the current state of things. And AI is sometimes surprisingly bad at writing tests, right? Writing useful tests. So you have to be like you have your head in the game there. And so basically, good software engineering hasn't changed. Pairing is still important. Code
When
review is still important.
when you say peering, could you like be more specific?
Ah,
Also, give like practical examples in the testing aspect too.
okay. So pairing is basically two people working on a problem together, right?
Mhm.
One person can be driving, the other person saying what's happening, the other person can, and you alternate. Common, what is it? Is it? Uh, I've forgotten the name of the overarching programming paradigm it comes from, but it's a common software engineering practice, and basically it's knowledge sharing. It's not many companies might not want to do it because they're like, oh, I'm paying for um, 16 hours of work when it's only one person that was ever typing at any point in time. But because everything rises and falls on the shared context of the system, you are actually doing more than any one person would have done, right? When you do that, so things like that are still super important in software teams, people building software, and reviewing the code is still super important. Again, it has that knowledge sharing benefit. Um, and everything testing having good testing and release frameworks. Uh, everything that we've been doing is still super important, right? Even till now. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, don't throw it away,
Don't
basically.
throw it away. Don't throw away the testing. So, do you mean like unit testing? Do you mean like testing on users? What form
Mhm.
of testing are you?
Everything, everything,
Everything.
manual testing, automated testing, unit tests, integration tests, end-to-end tests, um, the whole nine yards. Everything is extremely important. Now there's work being done to make it so these tools can verify their work better, right? Play with simulators on your device, et cetera, et cetera. Still, again, you're liable for the work. So if you can trust the thing that can't say how many hours are in strawberry to to be what to put out stuff that you put in front of stakeholders, that's on you. But the average person can't do that. So test with with reckless abandon. Actually, in this case, not reckless, but as intensively as you possibly can, basically.
Mm.
Mhm.
Thank you, Myra. So I see that you have worked with several companies. I've worked with European companies, Canadian companies, worked
Mhm.
at Bardi, Kinastic,
Mhm.
Wireless World, several companies. And
Mhm.
I see that you have made an impact there, right? Hey, Davy. You have made an impact, positive impacts there several times. And I wanted
Mhm.
to ask you, like, what does it take for you to sincerely thrive as your job at your job as a software engineer, right?
So to thrive or to
Thrive,
do okay,
right?
to thrive at my job.
thrive,
Uh,
thrive as a job at your job as a software engineer. And this ties into confidence as well. Because when you're
mhm.
thriving, you have confidence, right? You can be bold.
Yeah, I mean, chicken and egg problem, right? What it
Okay.
takes to thrive. That's another thing, right? When you have proof of work,
Mm,
it's almost like you're convincing yourself first before you convince other people, right?
mm,
Um, when you know your stuff, even if an interview doesn't go your way, you don't get the gig. Um, essentially, it's their loss, you know.
mm,
Uh, you you don't let that stop you,
Mm,
right? So a lot of thriving as a software engineer is because of the state of the market right now is internal, right? You have to know that you know your stuff, right? That you can make those systems that they need. Do it well, do it fast, do it accurately,
mm,
and that if things don't go your way, right? So far, what was within your immediate control goes well, then you're
mm,
good. Okay.
mhm,
So far, what is in your there's a circle of influence and a circle of concern, right?
mm,
Um, that whole concept. So you want to focus on that circle of influence, which is your daily output, your presence with your team, your integration with the team, and you pulling your own weight for them. If all those things are good, then that's my definition of thriving, really, in any role you find yourself in.
mhm.
So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So another question, and also we're taking questions from the audience too. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat, and we will answer it. And you can also put it on the in the comment section after this live. Let's say you couldn't join when it was live, but you can also put it there. So what's
Excuse
the
me.
most bless you? What's the
Mhm.
most valuable skill to learn as a software engineer, right? So some people say courses, some people say books, some people say just ask AI or Stack Overflow. Fun fact,
Yeah.
Stack Overflow is as if people are not using it as much. But
Yeah.
right now, in this day and age, what would you say is the most valuable skill, and what is the best way to learn it so that you can still set yourself apart and not be left behind or not be left nowhere in this age of AI?
So most valuable skill, I would say building stuff. Really, it hasn't changed. Like having projects, um having projects, I would say, is still the most valuable thing. Things that are genuinely interesting to you, right? Things that you find interesting, right? Not just cookie cutter things, right? So I would say that's still the most important thing, to show that you're always building, and that because you're interested in what you're building, you like what you're building, and that you're always pushing yourself, right? So if you build something that was just JavaScript,
Mm,
uh, the next thing you build, add TypeScript, right? If you build something that um, was just web, the next thing you build, make it mobile. If you build something that's web and mobile, the next thing you build, maybe make it a Chrome extension, right?
mm,
If you build something that use the managed AI service, build the next thing that runs it locally, right, offline.
mm,
Um, so always be improving, always be trying new things, always be refining what it is you do and you have. Personally, I look for an entrepreneurial slant. So if you made $1 online, right,
mm,
that tends to move you to the top of the pile, right? Well, yeah, with interviews, just because you have that end user business driven mindset that tends to be lacking, right, with people who get blinded by their love for the technology, right?
mm,
So just always be looking for ways to stand out, right? Open source, a huge one, right? Um, because again, you're doing something that's being used by people, right? Lots of people at times. So open source, always pushing the boundaries of your living at the edge of your comfort zone, basically, technologically, having a solid grasp of the fundamentals, including the language of the technology or stack that you claim to be good at, right? So
mm,
using those terms and feeling very moving fluidly inside of them. So if you
mm,
say you're using React, right, popular framework,
mhm,
right, being able to talk about hooks freely, right, in your sleep, or being aware of the latest and greatest in the ecosystem, like things like React compiler, what it does, React, I think it's called React Forget in the past, right? What's global state management for, right? What query libraries are it, right? Knowing to use the term query library instead of saying fetchy thingy, right? So
mm.
so so having that shared dictionary with other engineers, right, super important. And yeah, those are just some things, right, off the dome.
Do you think it's better to focus on mastering one framework before going into several? Or do you think like any new shiny object, like it's good to just play around.
It depends
um,
on. It depends, right? That answer is the answer you get for a lot of questions, right? In this industry, it depends. So if you want to make your own framework, I mean, it would help you to try a lot of different ones, right? But if you want to build stuff, right, bro, just learn React and carry on, right? TBH. Right. So you don't want to again get on this hamster wheel, right? You're doing a lot of stuff and not feeling like you're making any progress. So I would say pick one, get really good at it. Then you would find that learning another one because learning one would mean you learn a lot of the language of development, whatever for whatever framework you're using or whatever and whatever platform you're targeting. It makes it so your questions are more intelligent and you can pick up the other ones very quickly. Similar to programming languages, actually. It's better to learn one before you go start branching into everything else.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mayowa. So this is the final question for today, except our audience has a question. So how can you tell, because in this age of AI, right, it's as if everybody can now become a software engineer. And it's not a bad thing, it's actually a good thing for
Yes.
the industry, right? We have more people. But how can
Yeah.
you tell someone who is solid, right? Who is like a better hire per se than someone who does vibe codes everything.
I mean, you just talk to someone and
You can
you
vibe
don't
code read um
you don't you don't
project.
need to talk to someone for a long time to know. You actually don't. I don't even need to see you write a line of code, to be honest. I just need to hear you talk for a while. I'll just ask you a few questions and I will know instantly whether you can actually code really well or it's just you're just vibing. Right? Because again, there's a shared language. There's a shared language, right? As an experienced engineer. Now I've seen that issue bite some very experienced and great engineers in the foot, right? The fact that they are not as verbally articulate, right? They articulate better in code than with their mouth. So that's a real thing, something to look out for. But still, if someone can walk me through code, like live, right? Code that is written, code that they understand, maybe even if they didn't write it, then that's enough. That's usually enough for me to know and be able to tell just by asking some questions. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Naira, for
No,
this amazing time. I didn't see any questions, but
yes.
I did see a confetti, so thank you.
All
um,
right.
so we're about to round off, and I just wanted to mention our sponsors for today. Sponsors for today are Olog Reader, woohoo, confetti, yay, and Scribe. So Olog Reader is an AI book reading platform. So you can upload your books, get it read to you, and this is very helpful, especially when you have things to do and you're multitasking a lot, but you still need to study. Right? Definitely go check out AI. I said AI. Olog Reader, which is an AI tool. And also we have Scribe, which allows you to send multiple emails out to several people. So let's say you have a company, you want to integrate their API because they have an API, right? You want to integrate into your software. Definitely go use Scribe or you can just sign up. Thank you so much, everyone, and
Thank you.
have an amazing, lovely day. Thanks for
Thank you.
joining. Bye. And we have this live same time next week.
Okay.
But this time we're going to be talking about system design. So yes.
All right.
Bye.
Let's do it.
Bye.
Ciao.